All
This is
right.
a sweet
Time
room.
to
Yeah, really.
go.
Gentlemen, how are we doing today?
Good. How are
Good.
you?
Doing wonderful. I am so excited to talk to you about this movie, and I'm so mad embargo's not up so I can scream about how much I love this movie. It's absolutely fantastic. It's one of my favorite slashers in years. So thank you so much for sharing your time with me.
We'll take that.
Michael,
We'll take
actually,
that.
Michael, I want to start with you. I did some research and I found out you worked on Family Guy for a bit, correct?
Yes, I
Um,
did.
so, most important question I think I'm gonna ask today. What do you think the Hard Eyes Killer would think of Glenn Quagmire? Do you think he would kill him or be so absolutely disgusted by him?
Yes, he would kill him in 2.2 seconds. And he'd kill the shit out of him. He'd stab him in that giant chin.
I'd love to hear that. You think he'd kill all the girls in the house too?
He'd let them go, maybe except one.
Maybe just to be nice. Just to be nice.
Yeah, they're already victims.
Yeah. Oh, it's very true though. So I read for you, Philip, this actually came about from a bad date. I'm
Yes.
really curious. From that date, as unfortunate as it may have been, were there any moments that inspired the actual dinner scene in the movie, or just that flat out made it into like verbatim?
No, nothing really specifically about the date. It was just the worst date I've ever been on. And I was obviously interested in her. Like I'm on dates, I'm usually asking a lot of questions and I was getting nothing in return. So, I mean, I ended it after 30 minutes. I was like furious. But I was watching a lot of horror movies at the time because it was October 2021. So I had the horror in my head and then I had this frustration of this date in my head. And I was just like, man, what if Jason was after us? Would that have gotten her to open up? That have gotten us to bond? Would that have gotten us to maybe fall in love? Because we did have a connection on our FaceTime before the date.
But doesn't that make it the best date of your life now?
That's the thing. No, I might actually meet her when the movie comes out.
need to, like,
That would be so funny.
To the premiere.
This movie's based on
You know, that'd be insane.
And
That'd be
you
the
guys
universe.
actually follow.
Oh my God, that would be the universe like really pulling some serious strings.
The universe
Because we
is
did
telling
have
you.
something on the FaceTime, so it was that's why I was so frustrated.
Wow. But you know what? You got a job, you got a great movie out of it.
Yeah.
And this is also your first foray into horror. So what was it like having Chris and Michael come in and work on this after they've been so established in horror for almost a decade now?
No, it was amazing. I mean, I'd written horror scripts before, but this is the first one to get made. But I mean, I couldn't ask for two better guys and writers to come in. They knocked it out of the park.
They were they're absolutely fantastic. And having three writers on a project is very fascinating to me because sometimes when that happens, it might not work out. It might be very imbalanced tonally, but I think it actually works in the favor of Hard Eyes. For each of you, I'm curious, what was your favorite contributions to writing this movie? Whether it was a character, a joke, a kill, a scene, what would it be?
Go ahead, Chris.
Oh, God. I mean, I think first and foremost, it was really just kind of making sure that this felt like a rom-com that was being invaded by a horror movie.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think that was what was exciting to me about the project. Was taking kind of two kind of very tropey genres and mashing them together and kind of seeing how they click.
And it works perfectly.
Yeah, and I think, for me too, I love set pieces. I'm a big set piece guy. I love to walk into rooms and look around and think, how would I kill someone here? And I do that pretty much everywhere I go. I'm doing it right now.
That's a bit disturbing. It's a bit disturbing. It's the first thing you think about.
Yeah. So, I mean, look, it's funny. We had a wealth of set pieces. There's actually a couple that didn't even make it into the final movie that we wrote.
Really good too.
But yeah, I think I the thrill of sort of getting to make a rom-com slasher and also, just getting to help create what I hope to be sort of a new iconic serial killer.
Yeah, I think for me, there's twofold. My favorite joke that I wrote that almost didn't make it in the movie, and I pleaded with Josh to keep it in, and then when the audience heard it at a test, got a good reaction, so he kept it, was the HWW moment.
The white woman one, yeah.
Yeah, so I really love that. But for me, this was the first, I did Freaky with Chris, so it was really fun making that movie with him because he let me in on the whole process. But I've had a movie in the past where I watched my work get completely changed in production. And on this film, I was involved through the whole thing. And in some ways, they probably had to deal with me because I wouldn't go away. But this was my first experience of continuing to contribute to the film on the script side and on the shoot side as we were making the movie. Like, Chris went to go make a movie and we had to make some like logistical changes to the script and stuff. And I got to do that with Josh. So I'm really proud of I'm really proud of this movie. It's really fun.
You should be. You should be very proud of it. You should be very proud of it. Phil, what was your favorite contribution to the script?
I mean,
The whole
yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
I mean, I came up with the killer when I was like cooking a Blue Apron dinner. I was like,
that sounds so lonely.
I was like, no, but I mean, it was great. I was just like, how about he kills couples? And I was like, maybe he's called the couples killer. I was like, no, I can do better than that. And when it came the Hard Eyes Killer and the mask has hearts, I'm like, well, there it is. I mean, creative breakthroughs. I don't have to tell these guys it's like better than sex.
What made you think of the emoji? Actually, I always wanted to know that.
It just made sense. Like the hard
It's
eyes.
so good because that literally was when we were reading the script. That was like for me. That was like, oh, there's a movie. Like this killer's mask.
Yeah.
It could be so hokey, but the way you scripted it and then just seeing it in my head, I was like, this is gonna be scary as hell.
No, I mean that's the thing. Like it was. I found a few. There's like those masks that those facial masks that like women wear on Women's Night. Like those ones where
those like glowing ones. Devin had those on this morning.
I think it's probably one of those. But I found one on the internet. It was just a woman that was wearing one and it had hearts over the eyes. I'm like, that's nightmare fuel right there.
Yeah,
perfect.
And so just being able to create an iconic, hopefully iconic masked killer in the vein of Jason and Michael Ghostface is like, I couldn't ask for anything more.
Yeah.
And another thing that was really fun about creating the killer was sort of taking that mask and then trying to figure out how we could take it a step further and make it like it was part of like a fetish kind of kink thing. You know what I mean? It's like it's often like the whole getup is a little bit of an afterthought with the killers. It's like some kind of utility outfit, and then but this is very sexual and bespoke and specific and erotic. And so I think that was the other thing that was really fun was bringing some sex to the killer, which is, I think, kind of unusual for these kinds of movies.
Like they say, it's almost like a kink. And like you said about creating an iconic killer, I'm curious, now that you've created a Hard Eyes Killer, which emoji do you think would make the best slasher killer next?
Oh, man.
I just keep singing the giant killer eggplant, but maybe that's just my own. I really need to get that out of my head.
God, yeah.
I immediately went to the one that's like.
Yeah, I'd have to look through my my most used emojis on text.
I mean, I think the dead-eyed emoji, like where it's like he's dead,
like X's
and stuff.
Oh yeah,
could be cool.
The drooly one could be great. Like just so much drool.
The green one that hasn't
just some like.
And instead of drool, it's like blood.
Just
like dripping down. Oh, that's good.
There's got to be another.
But the Hard Eyes emojis is the scariest because it's the least harmless looking when you look at it, right? But when you turn it into a monster, it's pretty great. And like Chris said, it's like the thing I love about the Hard Eyes Killer is he's thought through every single thing. Like he's not Michael Myers just putting on a mechanics.
No, he's very like behind methodical.
Yeah, like the mask is only one piece. It's the most important piece, but it's only one piece of the thought, which I love.
That's great. Okay, so it's February 14th. Hard Eyes is on the loose in the real world. You are mistaken for somebody. As a couple and Hard Eyes comes to kill you, who is the person that you would want by your side that would give you the best chance to survive?
Chris Landon.
He's a slasher expert. I mean, he would know.
But yeah, I want Chris. My husband would fall right down a flight of steps and break. So,
It's gonna be really awkward if Chris says someone that's not you, Michael. You know that, right?
that's fine.
I'll take Chris as well if he's
Yeah,
available.
right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe that girl. Again, maybe it would have brought something out of her, and she's like the girl in You're Next who like grew up on a survivor.
That's pretty
camp.
cool.
Totally.
I keep
Ooh,
just
that'd be
thinking
cool.
of this guy finding these frames and making weapons out of them.
That'd be cool.
So-
Yeah.
Oh, but you know what I can do? I could say if the hardest killer's come after me, I'm like, bro, I created you. You're really gonna fucking kill your neighbor?
But do they have morals for that sort of thing though?
What's that?
Do they have morals though? Because a lot of slasher killers have killed people who created them or are very important to them. Do you think the hardest killer has that sort of moral to keep you safe?
That's a good question.
That's a good question. Yeah, I don't know.
I would say.
I would say
Yeah, probably not.
So you're out.
Well, it
The king
depends on
is
who
a
it
king.
is.
I also would want the Terminator. Does that count?
Ooh. Yeah, sure. Let's do fictional
On
if you
my
want. Why
side.
not? If
Yeah.
it's fictional, like hell, I like Michael Myers. The dude's indestructible. Going
I guess my
fictional.
dog.
This question's going off the rails. That's sort of really clear. Like suddenly, like I'm gonna have all the Transformers protecting me from hard eyes.
You know what? Sure. But you know what? They would all get killed by hard eyes anyways. That's just how it is in slasher movies. Everybody dies.
That's true.
That's a good thing, though. That's a good thing. And I was really curious. The soundtrack is really important to this movie, and there's some great songs in there. Like when I heard "Please Don't Go" in the slow mo near the third act, I was so happy. It's one of my favorite songs. So I'm curious. Are there any love songs that particularly resonate with you that you would probably want in a slow mo action scene of your own?
I mean, anything Céline Dion.
The
We
Canadian
had a
in me is
big.
so happy. The Canadian in me is so happy to hear that.
We actually wrote, I think, a couple Celine Dion songs into the script, knowing we would never get them because they'd be $70 million. But yeah, Celine Dion is my go-to when I want to listen to a power ballad. So any Celine Dion.
Before I started working every day on Hard Eyes, I would listen to Hungry Eyes,
That's funny.
and that just like
Oh.
put me in just like the headspace.
Fantastic song. Eric Carmen's a
It's
genius.
so good. It's so
Absolute
good.
genius. Yeah.
Any love songs that I would love to hear? I'm kind of a bit of a old school classic guy. So anything Sinatra,
Oh, I love that. I love to hear that.
feels right for me. But I love a lot of what like Josh was
Yeah.
drawn to a lot of kind of 80s, 90s kind of stuff.
Mhm.
And I was really happy with, we have an amazing music supervisor on the movie called, his name's Rob Lowry, and Rob is like he's the best at this kind of stuff, and
Yeah.
like he helped really establish, I think, this kind of cool, vibey, romantic tone for the movie.
Yeah, and there's a nice like nostalgic plus contemporary aspect to the music that was
for
chosen.
sure.
That's wonderful. And this movie has some absolutely fantastic kills. Like even for me, who as someone who watches a lot of horror, I had to turn away a couple times because I'm like, okay, this is a little too much. For each of you, which kill do you think is going to resonate with audiences the most and be like the one they remember the most after they leave the theater and for years to come?
The van.
Yeah,
The van, the
That's-
twofer.
that's been resonating.
It's already resonating right now.
Yeah, the twofer's crazy.
Yeah, both trailers. So,
People are feeling the van kill for sure.
and I also think if they're already, because they know the van kill, I think the opening wine press will.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
will
Yeah.
happen. I was watching the movie last night. And my husband didn't want to watch it because he wanted to wait for theaters, but he did watch the cold open with me, and he actually screamed when her head exploded. So that was pretty cool.
Spoiler alert.
Well,
Yeah, spoiler. Don't put that in there, Thomas.
okay, I'll put it out after the movie. And my last question for you, holiday horror movies in particular, Valentine's Day. I feel like there's not that many good ones aside from My Bloody Valentine. They all seem to miss something, and I think that narrative changes with Hard Eyes, where you guys balance every single element perfectly to make a genuinely great movie. What's the secret sauce in making a great Valentine's themed horror movie?
I think being as tongue-in-cheek as we are, I think it's still about approaching the lead characters and the romance in an earnest and genuine way, so
Mhm.
that the audience is invested in their lives, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that's the critical error that I think that not just, Valentine horror movies, but I think a lot of horror movies in general, it's the critical error is that they don't give enough import and thought to the lead characters and letting them be real human beings who have insecurities and flaws and fears and hopes. And, you know, that was something that we were really acutely aware of, is that, you know, no matter how silly or ridiculous we get, we still want an investment in character.
Yeah, it's great. And you know what? You have Olivia and Mason who do fantastic in bringing that out from them.
They are amazing.
They're
Hey.
fucking-
So amazing. I mean, I've been watching Olivia since I was like 10 years old. So seeing her in this is like amazing. And Mason, also great.
Olivia is so important to the movie because, you know, when people think of horror and especially slashers, they think of Laurie Strode, Sidney Prescott, you know, Nancy Thompson. But when you kind of start looking at the slasher subgenre as a whole, there's not a ton of excellent final girls. I think they're almost treated as an afterthought until the climax of the movie. And,
No, definitely.
you know, and I really think starting from Phil all the way through to Olivia's performance, there was very great care taken in giving Allie, you know, agency and flaws and, you know, just standing out. Because a lot of the times the lead in slasher movies they don't stand out amongst their co-stars.
Everyone goes to see them for the killers. They don't really care about the other characters. That's the thing.
Yeah, or the best friends got all the quirky, funny lines and stuff.
Exactly.
And sometimes the relationship is an afterthought, you know, like I know when we were writing, I looked a lot to the Billy Sidney relationship in the first Scream, because that's one of the few romantic relationships, doomed at the end of the day, but one of the few romantic relationships that like Kevin Williamson, it's like Sidney's whole arc is about her boyfriend.
It is.
Yeah,
And
there's a lot of
Alex'
care.
whole thing
Yeah.
is about Jay in this.
Yeah. And herself.
Yeah.
You know, it's like both of the Sidney and Allie have that thing in common where like the end of the day, their arc is really internal.
I totally agree. And they're just giving the wrap. So I just want to say again, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to talk to me. I'm so happy to finally talk to all of you. I'm huge fans of your projects. I cannot wait to tell people how great this movie is. And Chris, I can't wait to see the drop trailer tomorrow. I'm very excited for that.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'm excited for people to see it.
So excited to hear. I've heard great things about it. Enjoy the rest of your press day. And I can't wait for everyone to see this movie again. I can't wait to watch it again. Thank you so much.
Thanks,
Thank you very much.